Excellence is the ability to interpret and deliver the mind of God with the God quality and standard. Hi there. Today we begin a new series on excellence, and I know that it's going to be mind shifting and life changing. Get set. So in this series we'll be talking about excellence, the benefits of excellence, what happens when there is no excellence, and how to apply excellence in your everyday life. So as I've earlier said in the video, excellence is simply the ability to interpret and to deliver the mind of God in every circumstance with God's standards and God's quality. So every time we deliver and interpret God's mind in any situation or circumstance using God's standard and quality, we are said to be excellent. And the reason why this definition is so important is because we live in a world where even the people of the kingdom try to copy the standard of excellence that they find in worldly systems, and then they call it excellence. There are two major components of excellence. One of the major components of excellence, which we all know, is aesthetics. But the other part of excellence that we do not talk about is righteousness. So excellence goes hand in hand with righteousness and aesthetics. And so you cannot take away the righteousness and focus just on the aesthetics and call it excellence. And so you cannot say that the ushers in your church are excellent just because they look beautiful and then the line on their pants is showing behind. That is not excellence. That is ungodliness. We know that they are excellent when we see righteous aesthetics. And so every time there's a combination of righteousness and beauty delivering in God's standard and quality, then we can say that a person, a place, a thing, or a circumstance is excellence and is excellent. And you see, the lack of excellence in the church and in the kingdom of God, in the world at large today, is the reason why homes fail. Because even for marriages and relationships to work, they need to be the God kind of excellence. For businesses to flourish, to thrive, and to take up space, must consider the topic of excellence very, very importantly. And remember, I've said that this excellence does not just speak to beautification, but also speaks into righteousness. And we cannot also talk about excellence without talking about the glory of God, because excellence, the spirit of excellence, is powered by the glory of God. Excellence can also be defined as the spirit way of doing things that is powered by the glory of God. And so for us to clearly understand what excellence is, we need to understand what glory is. What is the glory of God? There are three major components of the glory of God, which is the life of God, the light of God, and the love of God. The light of God refers to his wisdom. How does this affect excellence? We know that we are walking in excellence when we are walking explicitly in the wisdom of God. The second component of the glory of God is the life of God. What is the life of God? The life of God is the aspect of God that powers creation. We know that we are working excellently when whatever we're doing is powered by the life of God, by the Zoe of God. And thirdly, the love of God. How does this relate to excellence? We know that you are an excellent person when whatever you're doing is motivated by the love of God, when whatever you're doing is within the context and thrives within the context of God's love. Conclusively, the glory of God powers excellence. And we know that the atmosphere where the glory of God thrives, the only atmosphere where the glory of God is able to exist, is the atmosphere where God is feared and revered. The fear of God is a very critical factor for hosting the glory of God, which powers excellence. And we know that one of the ways to know that the fear of God is in a place is that things are done righteously, things are done reverently. And so we know that you are walking in excellence when we see the reverent fear of God, see righteousness being exalted in your life, in your business, in your career, then we know that the spirit of excellence is upon you. If you do not take anything out of this video, I want you to remember that the two components of excellence is aesthetics and righteousness. And you cannot take one out and leave the other. When you have aesthetics without righteousness, what you have is worldly standard of excellence. And that is not excellence by God's definition. That is ungodliness. That is unrighteousness. That is filthy before God. And so the excellence that is accepted as reverent worship in the kingdom of God is the excellence that is backed up not just by aesthetics, but also the reverent fear of God. I hope this has been a blessing to you. I don't just want you to hear this good news alone. I want you to share with family and friends so that they can step up in their business, in their family, in their career, in their work with God. I want you to share with everyone on your Facebook. I want you to follow. I want you to drop a nice comment, drop a thumbs up, and God bless you.